Is not. Yep,
We
working.
say things that don't mean anything, but thanks for listening. Yeah.
Oh, hi. Oh, man, what a shit intro. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to
hi.
Say Things episode. Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey.
You don't get that reference because you don't watch movies. Episode 253. SUNSfan here with Cinderman. It's been a while again. Apologies, that's my fault.
I think this is episode 254.
Okay, let's take a look. That's true. Everybody hold on. It is 253. You are incorrect.
Is it actually?
Good effort, Cinderin. Thanks for ruining the intro a second time.
Look, it was either the title was wrong or our outlines are wrong. Because in our outlines we have episode 252, episode 252, and episode 253.
Wait, where does it say that?
I'm just saying.
It says 253 to me.
Yeah. But the outlines before that are both called 252.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So I thought one of them just wasn't named
I
correctly.
did that
but
so that you
everything
would
is
ruin
fine.
a future intro, which you did spectacularly.
Yes. Dude,
so
this was honestly, if that was the level of commitment you put into this, I can respect that.
apologies.
Good job.
I was last week. I had COVID just in time for Christmas. It was fun. You can still kind of hear it in my voice, but man, you and I have been sick a lot this year. It seems
We're alternating, which is the worst part about it.
Yeah. Mine have been at the worst possible times. TI and Christmas. Could not pick two worse times.
My God.
But we'll get into that. Thank you to our beautiful patrons. Lakers in 5. Amish Toaster. Radon Fails Against SUNSfan. No Matter Than a Hatter. Crownfall Enjoyer. Captain Broccoli. Suns Nugget Boys. STGC Daniel. Monkey King Billing Department is dying without the promised A to Z Dual Lane Challenge. Cinderin. Pepper Balls. T-Coil. And Vlad, let's have Puppy on the podcast.
And Disco Farm D, the Mega Pope, Shark TM Janie, Dop Wooden Aftertaste Anonymous, and Christmas trees were once decorated with fruits like apples before ornaments became popular, Mr. Niebling.
Wow.
Thank you, guys.
Interesting. That's cool. I'd love to see like a banana on a tree.
Imagine decorating a tree with apples.
Oh,
That's called an apple tree.
Thank you also to my wife who has delivered me a donut, which I will eat live on air. It's a jelly.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Cinderin. Nikki reminded me again.
Thank you.
How was your
Shannon.
birthday?
It was very nice and relaxed. It was just the two of us and the dog. I made a long roast duck.
Hold on. Sorry, that's its own segment, Cinderin, so hold on.
Okay. As you wish.
First is a more important segment, the NBA segment, of course. Thank you to Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Phoenix Suns. He is very rich. He doesn't give a shit about money to the point where he's just throwing it away, putting all these players together. Our team sucks ass, by the way. That's why I haven't really talked about the NBA in a while. But the good news with the Suns is the hot dogs are now cheap. One of the reasons I didn't go to games is because fucking hot dog would cost $9. A water would be $8.50. Sodas were ridiculously expensive. A bag of chips was $7. A little tiny bag of chips. Popcorn, $7. Those are all now $2. Praise Ishbia. Praise you.
This is like the most sponsored segment ever without being a sponsored segment. Look at all these discounted wares.
Yes, it's perfect. You can actually eat at the game now. Incredible.
Okay, here's my question for you. Are they selling at a loss? Or did they sell with a markup of over 300% before?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's not like this is just a Sun. This is every arena does this.
Mm-hmm.
Other than, I remember hearing about the Atlanta Falcons did this years ago. And I was having a conversation with a friend like maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago about this exact thing. I'm like, I don't go to games because, one of the reasons is, parking's bad. Still need to get on that. But also just the food is ridiculously expensive. You just have to eat something before you get in there. But yeah, the Falcons did this years ago, and it was a big success apparently. So
I guess in order to get people to games, if the team sucks, you gotta bribe them with cheap hot dogs.
Yeah, that's right. So we talked about this before, but he also made the games free to watch, which wasn't a thing before, believe it or not. he sent
Right.
literal antennas to people's houses that didn't have them so that they could watch the Suns. He did a bunch of other stuff as well. He's been, in the age of poor eating the rich, Cinderin, the Luigis of the world, which we won't talk about, but very interesting. This is one of the good guys, at least so far. So good job,
We
Ishbia.
will eat him last.
That's right. If we're really hungry.
Yeah,
Okay.
if we're out of hot dogs.
They might be out of hot dogs. All right, on to Christmas, Cinderin. So this is just a Googled image of Christmas.
Oh,
This is not my living room. Why don't you tell me what you did for your birthday / Christmas while I enjoy this donut?
Eat a donut. Oh yeah. Speaking of Christmas, let me eat a donut right now. Yeah. So my birthday is on the 24th, which is Christmas Eve. Obviously, in Denmark, that is the big day. In general, not just because it's my birthday. Of course, that does make it a national holiday, to nobody's surprise. But we just celebrated very calmly. It was Susie, me, and the dog. I made an oven roast duck, a slow roast. And while that was slow roasting, I was streaming Dota. And then in the evening, we had our dinner. We chilled, we watched some Arcane, cleaned up, walked the dog, and went to bed. What a great and wholesome day.
You watched a show? Wow.
Yeah, we watched the first 3 episodes of Arcane Season 2.
Oh, you're going to watch the other 3 next Christmas?
Oh, there's 6 more. You don't watch shows or what?
What do you mean there's 6 more?
There's 9 episodes.
All right, whatever the number is. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, we got him there. What was I going to say? And then the next day, on Christmas Day, we visited my parents, and then I stayed there for 2 days, and then I came back home today.
Wow.
And that was, as usual, that's very, very chill. A lot of nice food, conversation. We play board game. They have a dog that barks. That's a bit annoying, but yeah.
Wait, did you
Good
bring
times.
Onion with you?
No,
Where was he?
he was at home.
How long can you leave him at home?
He was alone for like 5 hours.
No, that's a long time.
Yeah, he can deal with being alone for a bit.
That's a good boy. Huh?
Yeah,
That's a good
he's
juicy
well
boy.
trained. It's all credit to her, not to me. She's done an excellent job training this dog.
Yeah, she hasn't done a very good job training you, though.
No, I'm a little bit more complicated. Although I do respond in the same way to treats, to be fair. But you need more, and they're way more expensive, the treats that I want.
Yeah,
So
you want amaretto sours left and right.
yeah. Oh, you did a good job cleaning the bathrooms. Let me take you for dinner and get you 5 drinks.
Oh, yeah. That's
Holy shit, now that would motivate me to clean the bathrooms real good if I got treated like that every time. How about you? What did you do?
For me, I got COVID, so I thought Christmas was canceled, but I kept testing.
Mm-hmm.
And we were supposed to do something on the 23rd with the family, but that fell through because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the
Were you the only one with it, or did others in the family have it too?
just me. I got it
Just you?
on my trip to Sacramento, I guess, from all the kids coughing.
Oh,
Luckily, Nikki never
wonderful.
got COVID, though, from me somehow. I slept in a separate
Good.
room. I was a good boy.
mm-hmm.
But on the 24th, I tested, and it was negative. I'm like, all right, let me test again, because these things can be,
Mhm.
inconsistent. And I was negative again. So I'm like, all right. And I wasn't really feeling bad anyway, because my symptoms had mostly gone away. It was mostly, I had a small fever, nothing major. It was just cold,
Yeah.
basically. So yeah, we hung out with the family for Christmas Eve. We have Iranian, Persian dinner.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, I think we talked about that last year, right? You showed some dishes or pictures, and I think
yeah, that's possibly right. I definitely don't
if I'm not
remember that.
mistaken. Either it was for that or it was for some other Iranian holiday this year.
Oh yeah, that was Nowruz. Yeah.
It was Nowruz, that's right. Yeah.
And then for Christmas, we always go to my mom's place where she makes us pancakes for breakfast. We open presents. And then we made it the new tradition that everybody comes to our house afterwards and we watch a movie.
That's nice.
We used to go to the movies.
Did you watch In
every
Bruges with
Christmas.
them?
This is a funny story, actually.
Oh.
So we always watch like a movie, right? It's usually like in the movie theater, but there's been like nothing the last few years. I mean, we just kind of just changed our minds because of streaming and whatnot. Like, all right, we'll just watch it at home. So me and Nikki have gotten the reputation of being good movie pickers now. Because my cousin, he always thinks he's the best at everything, but when he finally admits that, okay, you're the best, that's when you know you're good. So the last few years we've been watching movies that they've liked, and then this year we were struggling because I didn't prepare, a list like for you,
right?
Because I had COVID. I didn't think it was going to happen. So, long story short, we found out that a lot of people had never seen a certain movie that I was fucking shocked by, much to everyone on this podcast has seen this reaction many times with you, of course, my reaction to you not watching. They'd never seen V for Vendetta. Not exactly a Christmas movie, but I was shocked that they had never seen it. It's like 20 years old.
If it makes your family feel any better, I haven't watched it either.
That's literally unbelievable. Yeah, I just heard Nikki scream in the other room. What? So, anyway, I'm not going to respond to that because it's just disgusting. So we watched the movie because I told them it's one of those movies that I watch like once a year, roughly, because it feels like it becomes more and more relevant based on like the U.S. politics and shit. It's like crazy how accurate some of the stuff can be. And it's a really well-made movie. So they watched it, and everybody was blown away. It was like one of their favorite movies. So now I think I got the next 5 movies on lockdown. And then I went through my entire Plex movie list to see what movies they hadn't seen. And it was just like talking to you. Never seen Interstellar. Never seen this movie. Never seen this. Like, what the fuck do you do with your life? All right?
Let's do a fun experiment. Do you remember which list you went through with them?
My Plex list. It's just it's a long...
No, I mean, how many of the items from it do you remember?
Just a couple.
That they didn't watch. Okay. Can you repeat them? And we'll see if I have watched any of them.
Okay, there's Interstellar.
No.
There's, I already know these other ones you wouldn't have watched. The Gentleman, of course, I've recommended to you specifically.
Yeah, I haven't watched that because you recommended it. You're really bad at picking movies.
Shutter Island.
I've watched that.
Oh, really? That's shocking.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
Who's in it?
It's Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
Wow. You've seen that, but you haven't seen Interstellar? Yeah. The fuck is wrong with you?
I think we watched it in high school, maybe. When's it from? 2010? No, that can't have been then. I would have been done. I don't know. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I've seen this.
Okay. Well, you've seen one. Good job. One more than them.
Yes.
Really impressive.
This is important because it means I'm not family.
Very true. All right. That's my Christmas.
Nice. I mean, all things considered, that isn't too bad. With being sick. Sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah, it worked out.
Unless you hate your family, then I'm sorry that they had to watch a movie with you.
God damn it, I'm negative. Fuck. Now I have to enjoy Christmas. Let's move on to some news, which is Frostivus came out.
Oh, yes.
So Frostivus, basically they had it's kind of a cool way to integrate this into things that they just added every year anyway, with those little abilities that pop up in game, like the snowball, the snowman, whatever. Now, some of these give you certain types of points that once amalgamated, you can spend them on these rewards. So the first tier are voice lines / stickers. And I think if you create 3 of these, craft 3 of these, then you can move on to tier 2. Tier 2 is loading screens and emotes. Then tier 3 is a skin for the Tormentor, which is really cool. It's like a Christmas decoration. And then I guess it's supposed to be a reindeer. What is this guy's name again? It's Shitty Wizard, right? Dolfrit or something?
Dolfrit and Rosanen, right?
Yeah, so that's the second of the tier 3. And then tier 4, you can gain tokens to help you get through Crownfall, which for people like me that are done with all of them, it would just be Act 4. You can do it 5 times to get potentially something that can help you upgrade your Vampire Survivors. And then the Legacy, which is the tier after that, is a chest from... What is this from again? It's from like a year or two ago.
Isn't it Frostivus chest?
It's not new though, but yeah, it's an older chest, and you have to buy a key to actually use it. So you still have to buy something.
Making that craft effectively a tier 5 craft for 5 cents.
Yeah, it's a really bad one. And then I wasn't aware of this, but the last tier is the premium tier. Apparently, you can just make these. Did you know that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Because first time I looked at them, like it must be locked behind the Legacy then, but I guess not. And that is
the reason you can know that you can make them is that it says available.
Yep, it sure does. I mean,
but
to be fair, that's poor UX design.
I could agree with that.
You don't put this past a lock thing. You put this in the first tier then, or something. I don't know. Anywho,
yeah, or you could make the available text not white, maybe.
So you get these I don't know what you want to call these. It's like these spending thingies based off of certain things like high-fiving people, tipping people. So actually incentivizing toxic play potentially. Generic things like winning games, doing damage, building a snowman before the horn blows, things like that. And throwing a snowball before you get a kill. So like a true taunt, like the Heroes of Newerth style. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think overall, idea is very cool. Execution is decent. I mean, it's really just the Legacy, the chest that's weird, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I looked across this and there was very little that appealed to me, but that might also just be me, right? Who am I to say what good rewards are or whatever? But I would have liked something that felt a little bit more, first of all, maybe something that was lasting, aside from just the courier, right? All the other things, the voice lines are seasonal, the sprays are seasonal. I guess the chat emotes are permanent, but they're not like particularly interesting. It's like 6 shirts and a donkey.
Yeah, those are really bad.
but yeah, I think conceptually this is fine. I agree with that. I think the
you
concept
actually
of this and the way
lose
they
the Tormentor skin,
fine, but
it goes away.
Yeah, it says seasonal. It ends after Christmas.
So seasonal doesn't mean that. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that it might work next Christmas too.
Well, it's more that you can only get it during the season, but you can use it whenever. But
no, it means it's finite.
Yeah, so that kind of sucks considering it's not like this one matters that much because you are the only one that sees it, not other people. So you can choose the unequip. Somebody in chat's telling us the premium section is actually only available for people that buy the extra paths.
Yeah, that makes sense because they're connected with that, right?
So is it available, chat? Is it available for people that only buy one path? Like, is that the requirement? Or you have to buy the path on each act or something? Because
probably just one, right?
Probably, but that's interesting.
But yeah, and then the whole Crownfall, the one where you use a lot of craft materials for tokens from the acts. If you're done with Crownfall, that whole column is useless, right? So that's like, it's essentially a column for players that don't play a lot of Dota, but want to interact with the system and want to try to finish Crownfall. I think that's great. But I think that should have been a tier 1 reward instead of a tier 3 then. If you're trying to make this thing for the casual player base, then I don't think it should be locked behind getting the other things. I think you should allow them to get this immediately so they get invested and want to finish it. But maybe that's the exact reason it's behind the other ones, is that, they see this and they actually really want these tokens, so they are going to play games in order to unlock them. Might be why they placed it there. But like logically, there's a little bit of a disconnect with having the highest tier rewards be least interesting for the players that play the most, right? Which is kind of what it is. Also with the treasure chest being essentially a free chest, more or less, on the market. So,
yeah, I think it's something I wouldn't mind them doing this again in the future. Just make it better rewards or more interesting at least. But like conceptually, like you said, I think it's good.
Yep.
I mean, I wonder if they just Yeah, I guess you have to just keep unlocking the Tormentor thing every year if they did this, right? The way that works?
Yeah, maybe.
Which is a bit weird.
I don't know. I'm generally a bigger fan of lasting rewards than seasonal ones, and of course the majority of people are. There's something about having things that you know are only there for like a month or whatever in the game. But yeah, I personally would have liked to see a little bit of a shift in the balance where there was at least maybe one or two cool rewards that last. Also because I think that's just a good way of incentivizing people to interact with the system, right? Like using myself as an example, I've barely touched this because I'm not even actively, when I'm playing Dota games, I'm not actively trying to acquire these currencies because there's nothing in this that I'm really interested in getting. But let's say there was a tier 5 reward, that was something cool, that is exclusive to this event and then lasts when it's over.
Are you saying you're not making a snowman at the beginning of every game? Because I do.
No, I do some things sometimes randomly, but for no purpose really.
You should start making a snowman. It's 5 points, Cinderin. It's quite a bit.
All right,
it's an easy peasy one. Yeah, I think the only thing I care about is Act 4 tokens, so that I can upgrade for Vampire Survivors. Because
that's fair.
Yeah, those are annoying upgrades to get. Okay, yeah, I think it was cool. Little like extra thing on top of Crownfall, because Crownfall's still the event, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like this can just be just like a side thing, which is nice.
The question is if this is a testing.
Of course, like it's always a testing though.
Right. Like if they want to try to use the system in the future. But that's, again, if this is meant to be a test of how people interact with the system, I think it makes for a better test if you make rewards that are a little bit more appealing to everyone, because then you get more data of casual versus hardcore players, how they use it, right? But I guess it's also a data point in itself that some players don't use it despite playing a lot of Dota. Then that's also, telling you something. But maybe you could have already known that to an extent. I don't know.
I mean,
but the system itself is cool.
It really comes down to me, the idea of having to buy a key for a chest. Like this entire system, even when it came out as the main event, I didn't do a single chest. Their data obviously shows that I'm in the minority, right? But as a player, it just feels bad. Just this entire idea, the literal Counter-Strike. I've never opened a chest. I play a lot of Counter-Strike, still have yet. But I know that I'm in the minority, so it really doesn't matter what I do. But either way. All right, ESL One Bangkok, Cinderin. Were you at this event?
Neither of us were.
That's right.
This was... Has it really been that long since the last episode? Yeah, I guess it was ongoing when we did our last episode, right? Yeah, so it was in the middle of it. And then, sickness plus Christmas, that checks out. Yeah, so this was the last big event of the year. Neither of us was attending in person, but it was a high quality event. It was a tier 1 event with a lot of the really good teams. Just to go over it relatively quickly, I guess let's talk about successes and failures as we usually do, and then top 3. So it's 12 teams, 2 groups of 6. Biggest disappointment, probably Gaozu not even getting out of groups. Was meant to be the super Chinese team for this tournament, also the only one.
Would you have picked them to win the tournament?
Oh, no. Dude, I've told you this already. I am not predicting China to win anything ever again. Because then either I'm going to be positively surprised that the region plays and performs well on an international land and shows good Dota,
or I'm not. Smart. You're going to look smart.
Well,
for once.
Yeah, but I mean, not really. But yeah, they bombed out. I think that's honestly the only major surprise in this. The other teams that got knocked out of groups were Boom, Navi, and Beast Coast. And I think that was kind of to be expected with the quality of the other teams. Positive surprise to a lot of the community, Enigma Galaxy got 3rd in their group out of 6. But unfortunately, in the bracket round 1, they lost to Spirit. So they only got 8th or 7th, 8th. But still, progression for the team. It's getting better. And we'll see if the new year can be Year of Nigma. It's been a lot of years since it was anything of Nigma. But who knows? It's at least going in the right direction. All right, let's look at the top placers, if you will. So the bracket plays out. The top placements from each group are Falcons Avulus and Paravision BetBoom. So Paravision BetBoom continuing this Eastern European team dominance. They did really, really well in Blast, and they're continuing their form. They went 9-1 and 8-2 in their groups respectively, so really, really good scores. And they managed to carry all that through to both teams get a top 3 finish. So BetBoom ended up getting knocked out in third after losing 2-1 in upper finals and 2-1 in lower finals. So pretty much as little as you can lose by to get third. And they were eliminated by Team Liquid in the lower finals after being knocked down by Paravision. And that meant that this stage was set. Excuse me?
Did they play with GPK? No.
No, this one was
Kiyotaka
with
again.
Kiyotaka. Yeah. I don't want to read too much into that, whether, the dynamic is better with one player or another. There's way too many variables.
I can't tell if I had it. I'm getting really old, Synderen, so dreams sometimes meld into reality. Dreams as in literal dreams, not what I wish to happen.
Right.
Did I have a dream that GPK was rumored to come back to BetBoom, or is that a real thing?
It might have been rumored because they won the LAN, right? When they won Blast, maybe people are like, all right, they're getting GPK back. They finally won a tournament. But I think it was maybe rumored. I don't know. I don't remember reading this, but
okay.
Rumors can
Carry
spread
on.
very easily in various ways. So, but
yeah. I also
so
had
the
a dream
stage was
that
set for the finals.
I kept getting one shot by Wraith King in my sleep. Just saying.
Oh,
so it might have
yes,
been related to that somehow.
no, that actually wasn't a dream. That happened in your games. So they
Carry
meant the
on,
finals:
Synderen.
Paravision versus Liquid, and in relatively convincing fashion. I mean, the games were somewhat close until the fourth game. The other games were competitive, but the fourth game, Paravision absolutely stomped Liquid, and they won the tournament and beat Team Liquid in the finals by 3-1. And obviously, aside from the fact that that's an amazing accomplishment for them, there's a couple of things to take into account or keep in mind here. This was another tournament where Falcons did not make the podium, and in fact didn't even make top 4. So after a year where Falcons were the team and always got top 3, we've now had 2 back-to-back tournaments that they don't make the podium, which is a matter of, okay, is it fatigue, or are they losing their mojo, or the other team's finally catching up? I think that's going to be one of the interesting things to see next year, how Falcons continue to fare. But to celebrate the winners, I think Paravision, there's a couple of really good stories in that team. And I think the 3 main ones to focus on for me are the cores in that team and what they accomplished with this. So this was no one's first LAN victory, I think, since 2016 or 18.
VP?
Yeah, it's been an eternity since no one won a LAN. He also had a couple of years where I don't know if he even played at all or if he was just standing in or trying to get something off the ground, didn't really manage. But this guy is a legend in the game, and seeing him come back and perform at this level is really unusual for his position. I think it's always really inspiring to me when some of the older players that experienced greatness and lost it come back to find it again. I think it's also why the story of Seb resonated with a lot of people, right? Like, he was playing professionally. It's not like we had amazing results with MTW, right? But with MTW, but we won a dream hack against considered the almost unbeatable European team Navi at the time. Then we bombed out of TI. The next year, things didn't go too well for Seb either. And then he stopped playing and started casting. And then 3 years later, after having coached OG, he all of a sudden wins TI. And that's a fucking cool story, right? This is like a miniature version of that with no one, except that his accolades from the past completely outshine those that Seb had before he won TI. But that was his story, which was really cool. Then you have Crystalis as the carry, who got second at TI with Secret under Puppy, and who, for whatever reason, the community has been, large parts of the hardcore community have been absolutely shitting on, saying he didn't deserve it, saying he's bad, saying why does Puppy keep holding on to this guy in Secret until finally Crystalis wasn't part of this iteration of Secret. And then he goes and wins a LAN. Well, what do you know? Maybe people just don't really understand the game that well, or... You know,
the first step is understanding that you don't know shit.
Yes.
I learned that
and,
years ago, and it's made life a lot easier, Cinderin.
And I think something that people drastically underestimate when they judge players is how hard it is to look good on a team that isn't working. It's always going to be difficult to look amazing in a team that's losing. It's just not. It's so hard, especially in the carry role, because the carry role is exceptionally dependent on the team dynamic functioning. And the third core of Power Vision is DM. Kind of a similar story. People said he sucked on OG, that he hadn't got it, that they should have got rid of him earlier, that he was like almost like a one-trick pony with one stereotype of heroes. He plays all sorts of stuff, and he won too. So honestly, I think it's really, really good for the game and obviously for these players that they won this tournament. I'm very happy for them.
Is Slark a hero? Like, how do you win with Slark in 26 minutes? How's that possible?
I must have like you crush the lanes in the early mid game, and then like there are in theory
unusual.
even the slowest or worst carries can stomp games if they win their lane and you're winning the map.
Mm-hmm.
Then technically anything can win the game really fast. But yeah, it's very unusual to see a 26-minute GG on Slark in general. I agree with that. But yeah, that was that. That was the end of the year. Obviously, because of that, this was an EPT tournament. So certain teams will not need to play qualifiers, including Team Liquid, which is good news for Western Europe. The other top 4 finishers in this tournament were all Eastern Europe. So I guess it's also good news for Eastern Europe, because now those regions get to have more representation.
Europe is the only region in Dota right now.
Pretty much. That's the sad truth of all of this, is that every team in the top 8 was Western, including Shopify Rebellion and Nigma Galaxy. Depending on what you consider the Meswo region, I would still say it's Western Dota. Then all top 8 were Western. And then 9-10 were SEA and China. And 11-12 were Eastern Europe and South America. So, yeah, I think it would be really, really good for Dota if China and or SEA figured shit out and got better. But I have very little hope based on this year that they know anything about what to do. And that's a shame. But you can't force it, except not inviting European teams.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just gonna fucking win because they're better. You know. Let's hope they find a way to catch up. But
well, it actually does segue a bit, in a way, to the next topic, which there's a graph showing the top esports events of 2024 by a couple different metrics. So I thought this would be interesting to talk about. So this first one is by hours watched, the top 10 tournaments. League of Legends, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, League of Legends, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, League of Legends, Strike 2, Dota, which is for TI, and then Valorant.
We beat Valorant.
Yeah. So we are 9th in that category. And then for peak viewership, Dota's not even in the top 10, Cinderin.
Yep.
Do you have any reaction to this? Because I'll let you go first. So we've been talking about this for a while, though. It's not like a huge surprise.
So first of all, I don't know exactly where they pull these metrics from and what data they use. Because if I had to guess, I would think the grand finals of this year's TI had more than 1.7 million viewers across all platforms, right? At peak hour, I think so. Could be wrong, but if you combine all streaming platforms, Twitch, YouTube, China, tertiary platforms, I would guess it's more. It could be that it isn't. But past years, I think TI has generally been somewhere, if I remember correctly, in the 2 to 2.5 million range. And maybe this year's TI, the finals were just that uninteresting to people, or the tournament itself and the magnitude of TI decreasing has hit the viewership that hard. It could be. But I'm not seeing this and I'm like, oh shit, we're fucked. That's not like my reaction to it. But obviously, I would like to see more people watch and enjoy Dota. But I also recognize that what I think is part of what's going on here is if Dota is on the decline in Southeast Asia and China at the benefit of mobile games and League, then this chart is completely unsurprising, right? If that's what the next generation of gamers in Southeast Asia and China watch, then these numbers will outshine that of Dota because our audience is not attracting, I would guess, as many 15 to 25-year-olds as Mobile Legends Bang Bang is, or still League of Legends, despite League also having decreasing interest from new players. I think it's less difficult. Dota is maintaining. Like, our player base is not dwindling in Steam charts. It's like more or less a constant across the year. There's fluctuations, of course, but it's not like, oh man, this is terrible. Oh man, this is amazing. We're getting 100,000 new concurrents, right? But
right.
It's
I think that this is just a stark reminder. It's not like a punch in the face or anything. It's not like a huge surprise, but it's just a reminder that Dota is on the decline. It has been for quite a while. That's okay. No game can last forever, and it's not like the game is going to die anytime soon. It's just that it'll be at a lower rate than we were used to. We knew this when TI was restructured in the way that it was. Like, I'm surprised that Riyadh Masters didn't overtake it, but I think there's a few factors to keep in mind.
I'm actually not surprised by that at all.
Well,
personally,
part of it is maybe time zone related. I'd have to look at like what teams were playing at what time, but the meta was pretty bad this year. I think we can be pretty, like, after TI it's been good, which is unfortunate.
TI itself was also, it's hard to build up viewership when every game is a 2-0 stomp.
Yeah, and
that's
when
true.
TI is supposed to be the most prestigious tournament and it's not the highest prize pool, that does, I feel like, have an effect. And Chad is also mentioning another thing I was going to talk about, which is tournament fatigue. Since they changed from, the DPC to just this Wild West third-party tournament, there's going to be tournaments every couple weeks, essentially. So there's going to be tournament fatigue.
Do you really think that matters that much for the biggest event, though? I think that would matter for the other events. I think people would skip those, but then make sure to watch TI.
What makes this the biggest event, though?
The prestige. I'm going to go out on a limb, and this might sound crazy, okay? I think if in the next year, if Riyadh Masters was $25 million prize pool, I still think the peak viewership with TI would be higher. And it's because TI is the event in Dota in terms of prestige and history, and it's the one that people that don't watch Dota know about. If you ask somebody who's an esports fan but doesn't play Dota, you ask them, what Dota have you ever watched? They will say TI, and they will not mention anything, and they will not know the other tournament exists. They might know that in a year, or in 2 years, or in 3 years if it gets big enough, but for now, this is the tournament everybody's heard about because it was the crown jewel of esports, right?
I feel like you're overrating that a bit.
If people hear TI is on, they're going to watch it, I think. It's just like, I think there's a lot of Dota fans that tune in to watch at least some of Worlds. Not because they necessarily think League of Legends is an awesome game, but it's because it's the World Championship of the biggest broadcast esport event in the world right now. So maybe you're like curious, you check it out, you're like, oh, the finals are today. I wonder, even if you're hate watching, you're still watching.
Yeah, but
I think
I don't want to be that guy. There's some differences though. Okay, first of all, I don't know anything about League. Is it also the biggest prize pool of the year, that tournament?
For League, I think so.
And I'm pretty sure they have a system.
Way less prize pool.
I'm pretty sure
League is way less prize pool driven than Dota is.
Don't they have
way more about salaries?
Don't they have a system where as the higher you place, the more invites you get to other tournaments? I can't remember exactly. There's something like that.
I'm a little bit ignorant to League's entire system, but I know that the business model of the game for esports is way more similar to Counter-Strike, where the majority of the money is in sponsorships and in the teams and in salary than it is in prize money. It's more similar in that regard to CS.
But I think
now,
the
CS,
other
there's
thing,
a ton in...
the other difference, the prestige you're talking about, there's this old storied tournament that people have heard about. From the production side, things have it's more bare bones than it used to be.
Mhm.
We don't have these grand shows. League, I mean, I know this, and I don't even watch the fucking tournament. They have a crazy opening ceremony every year. Everybody talks about.
Mhm.
We don't have anything like that anymore. So I don't.
Right.
I don't think it's even remotely on the same level at this point.
No, I'm not saying TI is like Worlds. I'm saying TI still has more prestige and still has more pull for people outside of Dota than Riyadh Masters does. Because the other things that you mentioned, Riyadh doesn't really have that either, right? They have a big prize pool, but they also don't have an amazing crowd or insane stage shows or anything to pull in non-Dota viewers.
Okay, I'll say this:
So
it's not.
if you're comparing those two
If
tournaments,
that's
right?
true, if
Mhm.
that's true, I don't think the jump is that big, though.
It might be. I don't know where it is because it's not on the chart, right?
before
Like, who knows
it-
where it is
Like,
on this?
just think about before when TI was highly watched. The difference between
Mhm.
that and literally every other tournament was drastically different. Huge difference.
In Dota, yeah.
Like whether it's in addition to the prestige, the prize pool, the production, everything. Now it's just prestige. It's just banking on history. Nothing else. They have no advantage anywhere else.
I wish this chart had the next Dota tournament under TI, so we had something to compare with, right? But it's just not there.
Well, I'm sure we could look it up, but we're too
Because
lazy.
maybe Riyadh Masters is 40 mil, maybe it's 35. Who knows? Like maybe it's even less than that. I don't know, but I'm assuming Riyadh had the second most viewership after TI. Or was it called Riyadh Masters this year, or was it called EWC this year already?
No,
I think it was called EWC, right? They rebranded it. It's
the
not called
Dota
Riyadh
tournament is Riyadh Masters. The whole thing is ESWC.
EWC. Okay, I see. But yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to look at. Obviously, this doesn't paint the whole picture, but like you said, just looking at a small sample size here. But it is a bit concerning not to see Dota pop up all too often here. But what can you do?
It also really is eye-opening for me just how big Mobile Legends is.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it was
Crazy.
big, but the fact that their two MPL Indonesia seasons combined beat out Worlds is crazy to me. But I don't know how long the seasons are. Maybe they're like really long, and there's a ton of viewership hours in that. But still, regardless, like even if they last a month each, these are still amazing numbers for a mobile game. But just not anything I watch, so I wouldn't know.
I watched some of it in Riyadh Masters. I was forced to.
Oh,
It's crazy how they just rip off League of Legends. Well, it's ironic because, the League of Legends ripping off Dota and whatnot, but this is more so because it's literally the same art style. They got sued by League, and then apparently the case was just dismissed for whatever reason.
nice.
They got away with it, and yeah, they are benefiting big time. Pretty crazy. Maybe they came to like a settlement agreement. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, next, Christopher Nolan, Cinderin. Another movie
Smooth
talk.
transition.
Yep. We don't do smooth transitions here. We go in raw. So Christopher Nolan, one of the best directors of all time. He's, of course, known for many a movie, such as... Did you ever watch Memento? I think that was one of his first movies. Why do I even bother asking? That's a really good movie. Batman Begins, the trilogy of Batman with Christian... wow, I can't think of his name right now. Sir, chat will tell me. Inception, Interstellar. Most of his movies have been just epic. And now he will be doing a literal epic in the Odyssey, which is the Homer epic from way back in the day.
That's an old movie.
Yeah, very old movie. People that have already been cast are Matt Damon, Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson, and Anne Hathaway. Robert Pattinson is the guy from Twilight, and I have to admit, Cinderin, I hate to admit this because it would mean I was wrong. He's actually a very good actor.
Oh.
I was really bothered by it. I mean, Twilight was just shit, so it's hard to really tell if somebody's good at acting. That was just absolute dribble.
That's funny, because that's exactly how it's hard to look good as a carry on a bad team.
Yeah, it's true.
It's almost the same thing. Like, how do you look amazing in a movie that's, if you think the movie's bad, it's hard to impress as an actor, right?
Yeah.
That's
Christian
actually a very
Bale was
good
the name.
comparison.
Thank you, chat. There's also, who was it? Tom Holland is in this movie, apparently. I think he's been in too many movies, if I'm being honest. Otherwise, the cast is really good. The Iliad and the Odyssey, I mean, I don't know if they haven't really talked about how many movies he's going to be making. Usually it's, other than Batman, I'm pretty sure he doesn't do sequels. Am I wrong? I don't know. I'm asking you. It's usually just a one of.
Is the Odyssey or the Iliad the one with the Cyclops?
I don't know.
Because I was just thinking, who's playing the Cyclops?
What is this article? It says he's opted to make an adaptation of the Odyssey, the ancient Greek epic poem about the gods fucking. Oh, with a war-weary guy. Okay, I thought it's...
Maybe you should read the whole sentence. All right, this is the one. It is with Cyclops. It is with Cyclops. This one.
All right,
I think Anne Hathaway is being cast to be Cyclops.
Yeah, that makes sense. So who's wait, is this the one with Achilles? Or that's the Troy thing? Is that a different story?
Achilles is not. Yes, that's a totally different story.
Okay, just checking your knowledge of mythological history. You know. Yeah, I don't know who's playing what though, but I like all these actors, so I'm looking forward to it, Cinderin. I'm sure you're not going to watch it for 20 years. That's my guess.
It depends. If you say it's really good, probably not. Otherwise, there's a chance I just randomly watch it.
July 2026 is when it's coming out, so we got to wait.
Did you watch the second season of Arcane yet, actually?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay. Because we never talked about that. We talked about the first season on the podcast, and then the second one you just watched silently.
Yeah, that's right. Silent but deadly.
Okay. Well, do you want to mention what you thought about it without going into detail? Did you think it was better or equally as good as season one?
So my take on the original Arcane was that it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I didn't know any of the storylines beforehand, none of that stuff. Coming into season 2, I had forgotten everything of season 1, so I was a bit lost, I'll be honest.
We had to watch a YouTube recap because their own recap was too bad.
Yeah.
We genuinely did not remember the story.
I just watched them all. I just watched season 2 without doing that at all. So there was a lot of storylines. I'm like, who was this guy again? Nikki would let me know. I mean, like from a production standpoint, incredible. I found the story not as interesting as season 1 for me. Okay. But maybe it's because I never watched the recap. I don't know. But it was like, regardless, it's an incredible achievement. Like it is. I mean, the amount of money they spent is absurd, though. I was a bit shocked by that. But it does show in the production. It's crazy. Which goes, if you just compare that to Dota, it's like a child made that show. God, really depressing, actually. Okay, anyway, last but not least is a SUNSfan recommends. This is maybe the first thing I have recommended on Amazon Prime because, to be honest, their shows fucking suck. Lord of the Rings show is terrible. Oh wait, The Boys is great. I'm sorry. I probably recommended that before. The Boys is really good. But Lord of the Rings is trash and Wheel of Time is trash. This is called Secret Level. Nikki and I watched it in one day. It's kind of like Love, Death, and Robots, which I know you didn't watch. I'm just talking to the audience here, which is like a collection of short stories.
You've talked about that one before. Yeah,
this one is video game related. So they take a video game and they make a short. Some of them are literally 2 minutes. There's, I can't remember how many episodes. Over 10, I think. But they're all based on a specific video game, and it's not a spoiler if I tell you which ones, because it literally is in the title of the.
I think the one on the left is Pac-Man.
That's right. So,
and I think the one on the right is Gragas from League of Legends.
No, I don't think League is on here. Armored Core, Concord, which had a lifetime as a game for about 1 month, I think. Crossfire, which is the Counter-Strike, the Chinese Counter-Strike.
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World Eternum, I don't know how to say that, Pac-Man, and there's an episode that just shows various PlayStation games. Is this Sifu? I think it's Sifu. Spelunky, The Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, and Warhammer 40,000. I would recommend this for anytime you watch a show like this. There's going to be episodes you like, there's going to be episodes you don't, but they're all high production and they're all quick. So if you don't like something, it's not a big deal.
How many of these episodes are out? All 15?
All of them, yeah.
Okay. And are they planning to make more, or is this the roster and then they just shotgunned them out?
I'm sure that it's based off of how well this does, but
they all dropped simultaneously.
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So I'm not going to give anything away, but yeah, some of them are like animated. Well, they're all animated in some fashion, but usually it's going to be like this ultra realistic, Unreal type of look. Pac-Man is also that. It's not like 2D Pac-Man. And Pac-Man, I would say, is like a top 3 episode. It was really good. Very cool interpretation of Pac-Man. So yeah, I would recommend this for people that have access to Amazon Prime or torrents, but very, very enjoyable and a quick watch. So enjoy.
So when do you watch all your shows? Do you watch them when you wake up? Do you watch them when you go to bed?
When I eat.
When you eat. Okay, I see.
Why? Are you trying to fit in time in your World of Warcraft schedule to watch shows?
No, I was curious because I know you're really busy with your game, and
yeah, this is basically my only downtime now is watching shows.
I was just curious when you find time for this, if you're spending that much time developing the game, right? Because you watch a lot of shows. It's not like, oh, you're just watching an hour a week, you know?
Yeah. Well,
you're watching a lot of stuff.
If I watch 4 hours a day, which I don't, that's still a lot of time to work, you know? I don't know. I don't feel that it or it doesn't bleed into the time that needed for being a dev on the game. But
right.
Anyway, you guys should watch shows. Don't be like Cinderin. Enjoy your movies. Enjoy your media in general. Get off of World of Warcraft. Don't be a loser. Okay. Enjoy life.
Yep.
That'll do it for this episode. So next episode will be after New Year's. We're gonna try for now to do this on Friday. I'm not officially changing the graphic yet because I need to think about it. But we want to start doing this on Friday at it's 1:30 p.m. for me, which is currently 12:30
for me.
12:30 p.m. PST and 9:30 CEST, right?
CET.
CET, yeah. That's what I said. So we'll see if that is something we'll stick to.
And there are 2 benefits to that. Benefit number 1 is that it suits us both better than doing it on the Thursday. Benefit number 2, Valve pretty much exclusively patch their game on Thursdays. And that's actually been kind of unfortunate in general because some of our episodes that had really good content from Valve to talk about would be talked about 6 days after it came out, right? Instead of when it's fresh. So by moving the episodes to Friday, if Valve keep doing things when they do, hopefully we can give you guys more immediate news from Dota when that happens. So.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Peace.
We say things that don't mean anything.
Subscribe.
But thanks for listening.